So today we'll be taking a look at some more Charlotte Flair updates, Raw news involving the new roster, and much more. Let's start things off with another small Charlotte Flair update. There's still no official word on what specifically happened at SmackDown with Charlotte Flair. The only thing to go by here with this story is just several dirt sheet reports. And everyone knows how they're not the most reliable thing in the world, but the point is that it still seems to be quite the ugly night backstage at SmackDown. With the way Charlotte was reportedly kicked out of the building and Andrade tweeting everything that he tweeted, it led to some fans questioning the possibility for Charlotte Flair trying to get out of her contract to join AEW. Assuming Charlotte Flair would just get up and leave to AEW after one incident like this is just pretty ridiculous to even talk about, but it was a conversation that the community was having. Reports have addressed those conversations as well about Charlotte's contract status. Is she close to the end of her WWE deal? Is this something that makes her walk away? Well, according to the latest reports on Charlotte's WWE deal, they claim that she has several years left on her current deal. So, it's not like a situation like Kevin Owens is in, where his deal is set to expire in a few months, and he'll have to make a big decision. It's not like that at all for Charlotte. She has several years left on this current deal, and the only way out of it would be to get released, which everyone knows is completely out of the question. Charlotte is one of WWE's biggest stars, one of their favorite stars, one of the cornerstone franchise superstars, so they're not letting that just walk out the door. They'll most definitely try to work everything out before it even gets to that level. If Charlotte asks for her release along the way over these next few years, that'll be a completely different story and issue that they'll have to deal with at the time. Charlotte does seem to be prepared for life outside of WWE though, just in case that day may ever come. Charlotte and Andrade registered for some wrestling-related trademarks on their own back in 2019. The name Charlotte Flair is WWE property, so if Charlotte leaves WWE tomorrow, she's not going to be able to take that name with her wherever she goes. That stays in WWE. But Charlotte did apply for the rights to the name Ashley Flair, which is her actual first name, and she would like to keep that Flair last name as well. So just in case that day ever comes where she has to wrestle outside of WWE, she does have that Ashley Flair trademark already tied down. So she may be prepared, but it still doesn't look like that day will be coming soon at all. Maybe this was just a heat of the moment thing and it'll blow over in a few days, or maybe it'll stick around. It's still quite early to tell. But that's the latest with Charlotte Flair. She's not just getting up and leaving, but it will be interesting to see what fallout comes from this incident and if anything does change from all of this. Raw is entering a whole new era with their new roster, and it's going to bring a handful of new matches and feuds to the show. WWE recently released a graphic that shows a lot of possible matchups that can happen with the new roster. They did the same thing after last year's draft, and we ended up seeing a lot of those feuds actually take place. So this graphic gives us some great insight on what feuds WWE may be turning to over the next few months. It also gives us a good indication about where the superstars stand in WWE's eyes. The top contenders for the WWE title are listed in order as Seth Rollins, Edge, Finn Balor, and Kevin Owens. The top contenders for the women's title are listed in the order of Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Carmella, and Zelina Vega. The United States title contenders are Keith Lee, Apollo, Karrion Kross, and Austin Theory. The tag team title contenders are the Street Profits, the Mysterios, and Gable and Otis. So it's just a meaningless graphic, but it does give you a good idea of how WWE is ranking their Raw talent. For example, superstars like Keith Lee, Apollo, Karrion Kross, and Austin Theory won't be near the WWE title picture since WWE has them listed as being mid-card talent for the mid-card title. Seeing Keith Lee and Karrion Kross being listed as mid-card talent is a bit eye-opening when you look at their past in NXT. Both of these superstars are former NXT World Champions at one point in their careers. They carried the main event scene of NXT, so seeing Apollo and Austin Theory listed in this tier is understandable. They haven't broken to the world title scene in their careers quite yet. But for Lee and Cross, it is weird to see these main event caliber talents being listed as nothing more than the contenders for the United States title. But that's just how it is for the time being. As far as the actual talent that is listed in the main event tier, you have Rollins, Edge, Kevin Owens, and Finn Balor. Big E could have great feuds with all of those names that were just listed. Seth Rollins is coming off that loss against Edge, but he's still easily Raw's top heel, so it feels like he will most definitely cross paths with Big E over the next few months. Edge would technically be a babyface contender for a babyface champion, but it can still work. Big E could get a big clean win over Edge, shows support to him, shakes his hand after the match, and it elevates E even more. It also is nice to see Kevin Owens and Finn Balor are still looked at by WWE as world title contenders. Kevin Owens did have his world title success on Raw a handful of years ago, so maybe this is a brand that he feels more at home with, and he could make some serious world title noise during his time on Raw. Finn is coming off the Roman Reigns loss and the King of the Ring loss, but under the right circumstances and usage, he can still be seen as a big threat in the world title scene as well. For the women's division, Bianca Belair is listed as the top contender, which is completely understandable. Bianca Belair will most likely be the first contender for sure. There's a lot of unfinished business there between Becky and herself. Listed as number 2 contender is Liv Morgan. Liv has been gaining a lot of momentum over the summer, and it appears that she's almost where she wants to be at. She's labeled as a number 2 contender and is extremely close to the title picture. The final 2 contenders are listed in the order of Carmella and Zelina Vega. The listing in order here with these final 2 contenders is a bit weird when you consider the fact that Zelina defeated Carmella during the Queen's Crown tournament and ended up winning the tournament. Zelina did all that, becoming the first queen and everything, yet she's still listed behind Carmella? That part is extremely confusing and lacks a lot of logic. You would think that the winner of the first ever Queen's Crown tournament would have a better place in the title contender rankings than last place. But that appears to be WWE's logic. Win an entire tournament, but don't move anywhere in the rankings of the women's division. So that seems to be the latest update regarding the Raw roster. Everyone knows that Raw was struggling a bit there before the draft, but hopefully this is the shakeup that the brand needed, and things start to pick up here real soon. But what are your thoughts on today's stories with Charlotte and the Raw roster? Leave your comments, don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.